Going on YouTube family? This your man Pristine and back with another video. Welcome to the full Pristine review for the Google Pixel 5. Let's dive right in. Now, first off, price and specs really quickly. The Google Pixel 5 is $699, so this phone is $700. And shout out to the Pixel 4a that I got sitting right here. I've got that sitting there right now, not to necessarily cause a distraction because we're talking about the Pixel 5, but the Pixel 4a is relevant, and I'm going to be making a few or maybe a little bit more than a few references to the 4a throughout the course of this video, which, you know, I'm not going to take too much of your time here with this because it's pretty plain and simple. But the Google Pixel 5 is $699. It's $700. And the question is this device really worth that price point? I know that the last couple of years, especially last year, one of the main things about the Pixel 4 and the 4 XL was that although these were flagship devices, one, you know, a smaller version and a bigger version, these phones, in my opinion, and the opinions of a lot of people, were critically overpriced. And I think that, you know, Google took a bit of a hit in those phones. They didn't do as well as people thought they were. I mean, I had the Pixel 4. I didn't bother with the 4 XL, and I thought it was a good phone. But you know, after I used it for a bit, you know, which it was a good, solid, all-around phone, but I just could not stomach the price, knowing that there were other devices that I had paid less for that was offering more, right? And so, you know, I say that to say that it's hard. It's hard to justify paying $700 for the Pixel 5 when the 4a cost $350, which I paid full price for. You know, full retail was $349.99 for the Pixel 4a. I've had it since launch day, and you can get the Pixel 4a right now for as low as $299, $300. You know what I mean? And the differences between the 4a and the 5 here are not really all that different. The Pixel 5 is not $400 or $450 better than the Pixel 4a, at least in my opinion. And the fact that I've been using the Pixel 4a pretty much since day one when it launched, getting my hands on the Google Pixel 5, I mean, it's such familiarity. I mean, there's really not too much there are differences, but it's not too much of a difference, and I'll explain that. So just hear me out here. All right, so in the Pixel 5, we've got a Snapdragon 765G. This phone is 5G enabled. We've got 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of non-expandable storage, you know, running Android 11 fresh out of the box. You know, like I said, I mean, it's got 8 gigs of RAM. I mean, so, you know, it's got the 90 hertz display, and it's one of those things where, you know, you can toggle it off and on, but the refresh rate is one of those things where it depends on what you're doing with the device. You know what I'm saying? So certain things that you may do, it may be in 60 hertz. Other things that you may do, like swiping, scrolling, stuff like that, you know, you're probably going to see a smoother transition effect, you know, when that 90 hertz display kicks in. But, you know, you got to ask yourself, I mean, is that worth paying the extra money that the Pixel 5 is asking? Because, like I said, I mean, the Pixel 4a, you know, I don't want this video to come off as though I'm slamming the Pixel 5 because it's a good device. But I think that Google, they put their foot in their mouth when you give us something like the 4a and then you come out with your next version of your flagship device, and it's so much like the phone that just recently came out for so less money, and then you turn around and put out your new device and ask for $700. To me, it's just a hard sell because the Google Pixel 4a is just such a good damn device. Period. I mean, it is. And so, you know, when you look at, like, okay, the Pixel 5 on the phone on the left, it's got the smooth display. It's got the 90 hertz refresh rate. But I mean, does it matter? I mean, look at this. I mean, this phone is extremely responsive. Everything that I'm doing, it's responding with no problems at all whatsoever. And so it's like, Google, I mean, their hardware and their software it's built so well. It's like, I don't necessarily need a smooth display experience in order for me to, be more satisfied, I guess, with my device. I mean, is it cool that the Pixel 5 has that? Yeah, I mean, it's cool. The Pixel 4a, it's got where is it at? It's got 6 gigs of RAM. The Pixel 5 here has 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, so the Pixel 5 has 2 additional gigs of RAM. It's got the smooth display. It's got wireless charging. It's got reverse charging. I mean, so you can set your Pixel Buds on the back of the device and charge them. It's, if you don't use that type of stuff, like wireless charging, okay, I can rock with wireless charging. I got my wireless charger right there. I think you guys can see the little white thing right there. That's my Samsung wireless fast charger. But I mean, I've gotten so accustomed to plugging these devices in, and I mean, they do have fast charge. I believe it's an 18-watt wall adapter. It could be more. That comes in the box with the Pixel devices with both of these phones. And so charging the phone up is a breeze. Like it really charges up fast. I mean, so one having wireless charging versus the other one not, I mean, it doesn't really matter, because when you charge the phone, you're still getting a really fast charging experience. I mean, so, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't justify paying the additional monies for the 5. Now, I've been rocking with the 5 for a week straight now, All right. And like I said, I've been rocking with the 4A pretty much since I've had it since launch day, and I've been rocking with it ever since. I mean, I can't put it down because it's just the perfect little device. I mean, it's a 5.8-inch OLED panel. It's, for me at least, I'm small in stature. I got small hands. I mean, so it's the perfect footprint. Now, you'll see the Pixel 5, it's a 6-inch display versus the 5-inch display that's on the 4A. These devices are not, the Pixel 5 is not that much bigger than the 4A at all whatsoever, right? You see that? I mean, it's barely bigger than it as far as its height, as far as its width. These phones are the same. I mean, I think that the Pixel 5 has a little bit less of a bezel around it than the Pixel 4A does. But I mean, you can't even really tell that looking at it head on. You know what I mean? I mean, you really have to be just like, look at that. But you got that same punch hole camera, at the top. I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, you get a little bit more with the camera on the Pixel 5. I mean, so, okay, you get an ultra wide sensor, on the Pixel 5. You get the same primary camera, which is a 12.2 megapixel sensor on both of these phones. But on the Pixel 4a, you only get one camera lens, which is fine, because when the Pixel originally came out, it only had one lens, and it was literally killing the competition. So it's like, I don't have a problem with my Pixel 4a only having one lens on the front and one lens on the back. We've seen that before, and it crushed pretty much all competition. You know what I mean? So that's not really a big deal to me. I know that a lot of people griped about the fact that on the 4 and the 4XL, there was no ultra wide sensor. They decided to go with the telephoto option, and a lot of people seem to be up in arms about that. But we have now an ultra wide sensor on the rear here, and it's 107 degree ultra wide sensor. Check, I'm gonna be rolling some video and some still shot images at the tail end of this video, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. But I mean, I'm used to ultra wide sensors being, like 120 degree. Now, I'm not slamming Google because I think, they listened and they gave people what they wanted, because a lot of people really wanted an ultra wide sensor on a Pixel device. But it's like 107 degrees. I mean, it's like when you zoom out to use that ultra wide lens, there's not really that much more that you're able to fit into the shot. Now, if it was 120 degrees, then that would be more like it, because typically that's what an ultra wide angle sensor is offering as far as its capability to be able to zoom out and, capture more into the footage, whether it be a landscape that you're trying to get footage of, or taking a picture of a bunch of people. And you want to make sure that everybody's in the shot, whatever floats your boat. But, I don't know, 107 degree field of view just seems just kind of strange to me, but I'll leave that for you guys to judge when I roll the video later on, showing just still shot images and video samples that I took. Now, again, the performance on this device, it's stellar. It's buttery smooth, and with no lag at all. I mean, and battery life is really good on this device as well. I mean, you got a 4080 milliamp hour battery, and this phone, I think after extensive use, the day before yesterday, I used this device and I was killing it. Like, I was really going hard in the paint, just trying to kill this battery. And at the end of the night, I still was left with 27%. And that was with real hardcore, just, watching stuff on Netflix. And I typically don't do that, but I mean, a lot of times when I'm testing and putting these phones through their paces, I'll just pull out all stops. I'll get very uncharacteristic and just do things with the phone that I don't typically do, just to see how fast it will murder the battery. And even after everything that I was doing, at the end of the night, I still had 27%. That, ladies and gentlemen, is really, really good battery life, because I'm a light to moderate user. And so I can very easily pull down 2 days on a single charge on this battery. And amazingly enough, even on the Pixel 4a here, which has a 3140 milliamp hour battery, some of you may be like, well, that's a small cell. Well, this phone has a Snapdragon 730G. Okay, it has a 730G Snapdragon processor, which is it's a mid-range Snapdragon processor that is extremely, it's awesome for battery life. So you got the Snapdragon 730G, 6 gigs of RAM. Man, you're also talking about a buttery smooth experience. I mean, you'll see, just like I just did on the Pixel 5, pop in the Spotify, loads it up with no problem. We'll go into SoundCloud. These are real, content heavy apps that I'm opening, but you see it just opens them up and just breezes through them with absolutely no problems at all whatsoever. We'll take it to YouTube, and once YouTube loads up, again, a lot of content there. But you see, I mean, both of these devices, I mean, they perform well, and in my opinion, you can't really tell too much of a difference between either one side by side. You see what I'm saying? And it's like even in the camera department, again, like I said, I mean, they got the same primary camera, which is the 12.2 megapixel wide sensor. The only thing is that the Pixel 5, it's got that wide angle lens, that ultra wide lens rather, as opposed to the one sensor that is, on the Pixel 4 here. But if you don't really use that, which I don't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I just, if it's a feature that's featured on the device, of course I'm going to talk about it because it's a feature within the camera. But I typically don't take ultra wide photos, and so I'm content, ladies and gentlemen, with the standard 12 megapixel sensor that's on the Pixel 4a, because it's the same primary lens that's on the Pixel 5. And this phone, this Pixel 4a, takes amazing photos. A lot of my thumbnail photos of recent that I've taken, And it's like, you see a picture of the box for the phone blurred out. Those are portrait photos that I've taken with this Pixel 4a. And it's like when you take a portrait shot, it copies, you get a copy of the portrait shot and you get a copy of the regular shot. So just imagine just how detailed those images are without that blurred effect. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. It's not like there's not a huge drop off. So, the differences being the Pixel 5, it's 2 inches bigger. They both have OLED displays. The Pixel 5 has 8 gigs of RAM as opposed to the Pixel 4a 6 gigs of RAM. The Pixel 5 has a Snapdragon 765G chipset in it because it's Qualcomm's upper tier mid-range 5G chip, which this phone is 5G enabled, versus the Snapdragon 730G that is in the Pixel 4a, which is not 5G enabled. But then when you talk about 5G, I understand 5G is still very much so, ladies and gentlemen, in its infancy stages. It's in its infancy stages. You got certain states and cities that offer, real deal true 5G, where you're able to take true full advantage of all of, the millimeter wave and just these super fast, unreal download speeds and just all kind of stuff, right? I'm in Seattle, Washington. And although, you get, T-Mobile, they're touting their 5G and, you can see little 5G, at the top right of the displays. It's not that full on 5G experience like they're advertising. So the good thing about the Pixel 5 is it's future proof, so that once 5G becomes more into its own and gives people the ability to really start taking advantage of those speeds and whatever else 5G offers, then only then will you be able to utilize those things. But right now, I can't really tell too much of a difference between the 5G speeds that I'm getting with T-Mobile or Verizon versus the speeds that I was getting when I was on 4G LTE. You know what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself, is it worth, paying that premium for this phone being 5G enabled, even though we're not able to take full advantage of what 5G is offering, depending on where you live? To me, it just doesn't make sense because 5G hasn't really fully rolled out in Seattle, in the state of Washington, like that. You know what I mean? Although a lot of these companies, they're saying, okay, man, Verizon, I think just a week and a half ago, they were like, they finally unleashed their nationwide 5G. But you still only have certain states that have those 5G towers all over the place that enable people to be able to take advantage of everything that 5G offers. That hasn't happened yet where I live. So that doesn't really benefit me in the here and now. It's like when I buy a phone, I'm not buying the phone because of what it may be capable of in the future. I'm buying the phone because of what it can do for me right here, right now. You know what I'm saying? So to me, this phone being 5G enabled, it doesn't make me want to draw closer to it, especially when I've already got the 4A here. And the overall experience is identical. It's identical. Okay, so, so the Pixel 5 is 5G enabled. Like I said, it's got the reverse wire. You can wirelessly charge it. You can do wireless fast charging. You can do the reverse charging. It's got a bigger battery. Obviously, it's got the 4,080 milliamp hour battery over the 4A. And, everything else is pretty much identical. The Pixel 4a, it does have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack right there at the top. You can see that there versus the Pixel 5. The Pixel 5 does not have a 3.5 millimeter jack. The Pixel 4a, you can get it in just black, and that's the only color, versus the Pixel 5, you can get it in just black or the sort of sage, which I think if you're going to get this, get the sort of sage one. If there was a different color option with the Pixel 4a, I probably would have got it. But these two devices, they're just too close to call, and it's hard to justify paying the additional monies for the 5 when the Pixel 4a is just such a good damn device at $350. Like I said, you can get the Pixel 4a right now for $299. So imagine that. $299, $700. $300, $700. The other thing that I like too a little better about the Pixel 4a is the Pixel 4a, it's got dual stereo speakers. They both do. But at the top of the 4a, it's got a dedicated speaker right there that fires out towards you. And then it's got the bottom firing speaker down here on the bottom right of the device. Now, the Pixel 5, when you look at the top, you don't see a little cutout for a speaker because the speaker, it's a vibrating under the display speaker that's at the top. Now, this to me, folks, is problematic. When you're listening to content, like if you're watching like a YouTube video or something, this phone, it can get super loud. It can get super loud and it sounds fine. But my experience, when you're on phone calls, you put this phone to your ear and you know exactly where to place your ear because you know where the cutout is. And you're going to get crystal clear sound out of that little, top firing speaker. As opposed to the Pixel 5, you kind of have to move the phone around on your ear to make sure you get, you position your ear just right, exactly where that sound is coming from at the upper portion of the screen, because you don't exactly know where that speaker is under the display. And so a lot of times when I was talking to people, I could barely hear them. Even when I would turn the volume all the way up, I still was having trouble placing my ear in the exact spot where that speaker is under the display. And then by that point, you've just, the oil from your skin, from your ear is just smudged up the whole top portion of your device. It just looks ugly. It looks dirty. It looks nasty. And all you're trying to do is just put the phone to your ear so you can hear. You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe just the thinner bezels is the reasoning as to why they didn't just put like a dedicated top firing speaker up there like it is on the 4A. But it's like after experiencing the 4A and just how clean the sound sounds, and they sound identical. I think the Pixel 5 is a little bit louder than the 4A, but anybody, your average consumer is going to be totally fine with how both of these devices sound. I do a lot of voice text, and a lot of times before I send a voice text, especially if I'm like, knee deep in like some real stimulating, thought-provoking conversation, I listen to my voice text before I send it because I want to make sure that for one, I know what I'm talking about and that I'm, correctly articulating what it is that I'm trying to articulate. Well, a lot of times when I was going back trying to listen to voice text before I would send them on these group chats that I'm involved in, it was very difficult for me to, again, that placement, where exactly is that earpiece underneath this display? And a lot of times I had trouble hearing myself, and I would have to put the bottom firing speaker, which is right here, up to my ear. Well, that's awkward, as opposed to just grabbing the phone and just putting it to your ear like you would conventionally and just be able to hear what you need to hear, and then you go on about your business. Now, that was just my experience. I'm not saying that should be a determining factor for you, but I'm just saying in my experience, it was different. You know what I mean? And I found myself struggling to hear way more on the Pixel 5 because of that under the display vibrating speaker that's at the top of it, as opposed to just the dedicated speaker that was at the top of the Pixel 4a. You see what I'm saying? I mean, so, man, like I said, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to slam the Pixel 5. I think it's a good device. It's Google's latest and greatest at the moment. I know that here in the next week and a half or so, or maybe a little less than that, we're going to be getting the Pixel 4a 5G, which is going to be a little bit bigger than the 4a. And actually, it's going to have the same specs as the Pixel 5 here. It's not going to have the 90 hertz display, but everything else is pretty much identical. And that phone is costing $499. So it's like, okay, $500. $700. It's like, what is Google doing here? I think that Google is like, they don't want to sell this Pixel 5. You know what I'm saying? Because when you got offerings like the Pixel 4a, and then you're getting ready to release the Pixel 4a 5G, which is still undercutting the Pixel 5 in price, it's like these experiences, as far as the software features and functions, they're not going to be all that different across all three of these devices. I mean, so it's like, if you've got the ability to pay less, but still have the same experience, why would you pay more? Right? Like, why would you pay more? It doesn't make sense. So I feel like Google, they should have just went more of a flagship route. Like, they should have just went ahead and put the Snapdragon 865 processor in this and, maybe, make the screen a little bigger. They should have just went on flagship beast mode so that they could have like so they can clearly distinguish between what's what. Like, there should be gaps in the way that these phones performs, especially when you're trying to charge so much more money for one as opposed to the other. But it's just like when you're getting a pretty much identical experience, and this phone is $300 right now, why would anybody pay $700 for this? Who cares about wireless charging? Who cares about 5G? Who cares about an ultra wide sensor? You know what I'm saying? Who cares if this one has, an under the display, front firing speaker? Like, who cares if this has reverse charging? Like, I don't even use those things. Out of those things that I just named, the only thing that I use is wireless charging. And I don't even really use that often because I've just seemed to have gotten more comfortable with just plugging my devices in. I mean, these Type-C ports charge these phones so damn fast. It's just like, man, I can top up in no time. So, I mean, yeah, that's really all I got. I mean, this wasn't a video. I feel like this video turned out to be more of a comparison between the Pixel 5 and the 4a rather than an overall review of the Pixel 5. But that's just my experience because before I picked up the Pixel 5, I've been rocking with the Pixel 4a, and I was curious to know, okay, is there going to be a clearly distinguishable difference between both of these devices? And in my experience, ladies and gentlemen, there just is not. And if you're like me and you're all about saving a buck or two or three, just get the 4a. The 4a is going to do everything that you needed to do. It's going to perform. It's nice and fast and snappy and fluid. Again, you got Android 11 and all of its shenanigans and greatness. You've got these awesome cameras. You got a smaller footprint. Like, this device is a smaller device without any compromises, in my personal opinion. I mean, okay, you can slam it. Some people may really want 5G. Some people may really want wireless charging and wireless reverse charging and all that type of stuff. Some people may want the bigger battery or the bigger display. Again, this display is 2 inches bigger. Okay, I get it. But it's like everything else is so similar with these devices. This phone, the Pixel 5, is not hundreds of dollars better than this phone. That's the point. Okay, if you didn't catch nothing else, that's the point. The Pixel 5 is not hundreds of dollars better than the Pixel 4a. And right now, you can get the Pixel 4a for $299 versus the $699 price tag that this Pixel 5 is sitting at. Now, had I never had the Pixel 4a and I picked up the Pixel 5, then I'll be singing a different tune. I may be sitting here telling you the Pixel 5, ladies and gentlemen, is worth every penny. But I just can't sit here and tell you that, considering the fact that I've been rocking real heavy with this Pixel 4a. It's actually one of my favorite devices right now. A lot of times I put it down and I go mess with other devices, and I just always find myself coming right back to this Pixel 4a because it's the perfect form factor. It's the perfect balance between power, speed, fluidity. Don't get it confused into thinking that just because a phone either does or doesn't have a high refresh rate screen, that's the determining factor as to why it's going to perform. No. This phone has a 60 hertz display and it's a monster. And that's just what it is, people. So, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to expose yourself to tons of more videos that I've done like this one. Be sure to check out my whole catalog because I've got a lot of other videos like this one that I've done. A lot of great material. If you're looking for the latest and greatest smartphone, I may have something for you in my catalog. So be sure to check me out. Hit that notifications bell so that every time my videos go live, you'll be one of the first to get notified. And check out the content. In the comment section, little baby, is where I'll be posted up at. And that's where you can leave me any questions, comments, any feedback of any kind. Please, let's keep it clean. Let's keep it respectful. All right. Because I don't respond to disrespect. And much love to all of my subscribers. Those of y'all that have been rocking with me for some time now, much appreciate, and I appreciate your loyalty with supporting me in the channel. Those of you that are new subscribers, I thank you for your subscription, and I'm happy about the fact that you stumbled across my content and it was able to captivate you in such a way that warranted a subscription. I appreciate that greatly. I'm here to get my hands on the latest devices and feature them on the channel, teach you everything that I can, and give you the best advice possible, the real deal, to help you make an informed decision on what your next smartphone purchases may be. There's so many different options to choose from. And it's like, I'm here to help do the work for you so that when you go and purchase one of these phones, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. That's kind of hard to do, when a phone is on demo mode in a store. There's only so much you can do. There's restrictions. So here I am. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm going to keep doing my thing. But in the meantime, you guys already know, please stay safe. It's a crazy world out there, y'all. This presidential election, this coronavirus is going crazy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we are really going through some challenging times, racial inequality, all this stuff, all at the same time. 2020 has been a year. And as many things that went wrong this year, I still stand here before you, blessed. I'm a living testimony. Some people don't believe that where I sit today, that I should be where I sit today. But I'm where I am today because of the good Lord. You know what I'm saying? I stopped trying to be at the helm and I was like, okay, Lord, it's not about my will. It's about what your will is for my life. So I submit my life to you and have your way with me. And here I am. And you wouldn't believe some of the things that I came through. I say that to say this. Me standing where I am today is a true testimony that whatever you're going through, if you trust and believe in Christ, accept him as your Lord and Savior, no matter what you got going on, no matter where you're at in life, no matter who you are, he will pull you through. He will see you through. I know some of y'all don't like the fact that I choose the tail end of every one of my videos to witness like this, but I am not shy about the higher power that I believe. You know what I mean? And I'm like, he saved me and he can save you too. So I choose to use my platform to relay that message out to you guys. Some of you guys get mad at it. Oh man, what is your faith and religion got to do with tech reviews? Well, like I said, nothing really, but this is my platform, so I can do what I wish with it. So it's like, if you don't like what I'm saying right now, turn the video off. But aside from helping people make smartphone decisions and help them save money when it comes to smartphone purchases, most importantly, I want to contribute to helping save souls. You know what I mean? And that's why I always choose the tail end of my videos to witness to y'all. If you can't respect that, then man, keep it pushing. You already know, man. Please stay safe. Get spiritually fit, because we're definitely living in the last days. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Keep it pristine. Peace. What's going on, y'all? This your man Pristine. All right, so I'm in my backyard here, and this is the rear camera system for the Google Pixel 5. Now, we have a 12 megapixel primary wide sensor, and then we have a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and that ultra wide sensor is going to give us a 107-degree wide field of view. Now, interesting. I know that a lot of phones that have that ultra wide, typically the ultra wide is 120 degrees field of view. So when you use that camera, I mean, it doesn't zoom out too much. I mean, there is a little bit of a difference, but it's not anything like real dramatic or anything like that. But yet and still, I mean, it is present. Okay, so we do have optical and electronic gyro image stable. So we've got optical image stabilization and gyro electronic image stabilization. And whoa. Just walked right into a spider web. Dang it, that's what I was trying to prevent. All right, you guys can't see that joint, but I can, so I'm gonna duck up underneath that joint. Um, but yeah, I hear a lot of different things about the recording capability on the Pixel. Now, the color accuracy and the picture looks just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, colors are right on point as they ought to be. Things don't really seem to be overexposed. You see how when I just pointed up at the sky, how the camera just easily adjusted to the lighting. It's cold here in Seattle, Washington. It's been raining like crazy. We have had a couple of sun breaks today. Obviously, right now, it's not raining. It's kind of calmed down a little bit. But I, I, this a lot of people slam the recording capabilities on these Pixel devices, and yeah, they may not be, iPhone, caliber when it comes to video recording. I mean, we all know the reputation that they have with still shot imagery, but in my personal opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this does not look bad at all from where I can sit. Now, again, I'm not a camera expert by any stretch of the imagination. All I can talk to you about is what I'm seeing, what I'm currently experiencing, and what I'm seeing. I think that your average consumer is going to be more than pleased with the imagery that this phone is getting while shooting video. So, us tech snobs, or some reviewers that can be considered tech snobs, can be a little, I think they can be a little overboard, because things look totally fine to me. So God, look at that. Just beautiful. Goodness gracious. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Now, we got an 8 megapixel sensor on the front. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video and get some video footage with the front camera. We do have 4K recording on this bad boy at 30 or 60 frames per second, and that's just with the rear camera system. For the selfie camera, which is 8 megapixels, we do not have 4K recording. We only got 1080p recording. Some people may gripe and snarl at that. Me, I don't find it to be a problem at all whatsoever. So let me know what you guys think. All right. Okay, so this is the 8 megapixel sensor on the front of the Google Pixel 5. And as I mentioned, 8 megapixels recording is only at 1080p. We do not have 4K recording capabilities here on the front camera. Is that a big deal to me? Absolutely not. If you look at how this video footage looks, pardon me, I live in Seattle, and I live not too far from the airport, and airplanes are always flying over my home. So pardon that noise. I know it gets a little irritating, but this is beautiful. This is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the color accuracy, I don't really seem to be oversaturated or overexposed a bit. Like, you could tell, like, the sun is shining on my face over here, and it's just capturing my actual skin tone beautifully. Some cameras, they struggle with that. But I don't find that to be the case here on the Pixel 5. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I've heard a lot of people, say, negative things about the front-facing camera here on the Pixel 5, and just in other Pixel devices as well. But to me, whoa, things seem to be, I can tell, like looking at the sky right now in the background, it's a bit overexposed. We got, oh, you see the plane up there? They literally fly over my house like this all day, every day, non-stop. Now look at that. Now that's a good shot right there. Just how the camera adjusted when I leaned it up. But I can tell that the front camera here, it struggled a little bit with getting the color accuracy of the sky behind me. Because the sun is shining pretty much directly into the lens. And I know a lot of cameras struggle with that. But it's freezing, y'all. So look, I'm gonna get up in this house. Where's that spider web at? Oh, I see it. All right, let me duck up under that. Okay. So, you guys let me know what you think about the front-facing camera. Yeah, got a little gazebo action going on in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you guys think about the front 8 megapixel sensor on the Google Pixel 5. And, I'm going to go ahead and roll these still shot images, and I hope you guys enjoy those. And you already know, sound off in the comments on what you think about what you saw. All right? I'm your man Pristine. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to expose yourself to tons of videos that I've done like this one, and keep it locked at Pristine Mobile Tech because I've got so much more content to come. Be sure to hit that notifications bell so that when my videos drop, you'll get notified and you can be one of the first to get down in the comments after you peep the content. And let me know what you think about what you saw. I'm open to any questions, comments, feedback, criticism. Just keep it respectful. I don't do disrespect. And I know we all grown. I shouldn't have to say this, but you will be surprised of some of the things that people say in the comments. It gets extremely disrespectful, and I don't entertain it. All right? So let's keep it clean, and we can chit-chat about this footage. And that'll just be what the business is, all right? So you guys already know. Please stay safe, get spiritually fit, and keep it pristine in every aspect of your lives. Catch you on the next one.
It's a lot, gotta play cool for us.